So I've gotten a lot of requests to do a video on my home theater. So today we're gonna do a home theater tour, so stay tuned. So with home theater equipment becoming more affordable in recent years, it's easy for just about anybody to get into home theater, even if you have a small budget. So before I bought my projector, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my home theater, so I ended up doing a bunch of research and eventually started building it in 2015. And it consisted of a BenQ short throw projector, a homemade projector screen, a bunch of Polk audio speakers that I found on Craigslist, including a used Denon receiver. And this whole setup, including the projector, the screen, the receiver, and the speakers, cost me less than $1,600, which is crazy considering some people spend more than that on just the TV alone. So fast forward to 2017 and I have done several upgrades, and even though it's not completely done, I figured I'd give you a video tour to show you my progress. Now I will tell you I'm a bang for your buck kind of guy, so you'll definitely see that theme in my home theater. Alright, so first let's start with seating. So the front row is going to be powered reclining leather seats that are made by Seatcraft. They come with black tray tables, armrest storage, LED lighting, and USB ports. So I did choose a center love seat style so that I can watch a movie with my wife without the annoying armrest in the middle. So the back row was actually made by Palliser, and this was the very first set of home theater seats I ever bought. Now they do cost a bit more than I wanted to pay, but they are high quality seats and come with a great warranty. So as you can see, the second row is sitting on a riser. Now I did build this riser a few months ago using a combination of a bunch of YouTube videos and some random online guides. Now it did take over a month and lots of long nights, but I'm proud to say that it's finally done. So the LEDs you see around the edge are remote dimmable, color changeable, and they were really inexpensive and just stick right to the bottom of the riser. Alright, so now on to the speakers. So as I said, I originally started with a 9.1 Polk audio setup, which I absolutely loved. But a friend of mine told me that he can get me a great deal on some new Klipsch speakers, so I couldn't pass up on the offer. So I now have a 7.2.4 Dolby Atmos setup, and I just recently did a review on Dolby Atmos, so go ahead and check that video out if you haven't seen it. But this is going to include 7 full range speakers, 2 subwoofers, and 4 Dolby Atmos speakers. So my main speakers are Klipsch RP280FA floor standing speakers. Now these are Dolby Atmos enabled floor speakers with dual 8-inch woofers, a Tractrix horn, a 1-inch tweeter, and a full Dolby Atmos enabled speaker built into the top of it. And to my surprise, they actually work pretty well at making the sound seem like it's coming from above. Now, it's not quite as good as actual in-ceiling speakers, but I have to say that it did surprise me. So the center channel speaker is a Klipsch RP450C. It's a much larger center channel than I'm used to, and it does fill the space very well. Now, considering the center channel is usually the most active speaker during a movie, I definitely wanted something that would match well with the main speakers and provide a nice large soundstage, which this speaker does pretty well. And then of course you have these beasts. So these are Klipsch R115SW subwoofers. They're 15-inch ported subs, and these subwoofers are so powerful that I couldn't even turn them up more than halfway without literally shaking the pictures off my walls and eventually tripping the circuit breaker. So the left and right surround speakers are Klipsch RP250S bipole speakers. They look great, they work really well for my space, and they do a great job of throwing sound without being too obvious. For the rear surround channels, I have a set of RP150M bookshelf speakers, and considering how far they are away from the listening area, they do a good job of filling the space behind the seats and work really well for some discrete sounds in certain movies. And finally, for my rear Atmos channels, I have a pair of Polk Audio RC80i in-ceiling speakers. Now I did originally plan on getting some Klipsch ceiling speakers, but they did cost a bit more than I wanted to pay considering I was already on the fence about Dolby Atmos at the time. So after a bunch of research, I decided to go with these Polk speakers, and I was blown away by how good they sound and how well they match the Klipsch speakers, especially for such a great price. So all these speakers do have to connect somewhere, so I chose to connect them to a Denon X6200W. So this is a 9.2 channel 4K Dolby Atmos receiver, and considering how sensitive the Klipsch speakers are, they don't need a ton of power, so the 140 watts per channel from this receiver is more than enough power. Now, even though it can process up to 11.2 channels for Atmos, it's a 9-channel amplifier, so for the rear Atmos speakers, I went on Amazon and bought a really inexpensive amplifier. So this is the Audio Source AMP100VS, which is a really cheap 2-channel amp that works perfectly for Dolby Atmos speakers since they don't need a ton of power. Now this works great with my Denon receiver, and I'd recommend it to anyone who needs a simple add-on amp. So now on to the star of the show, which is the Optoma UHD 60 4K DLP projector. And I did just recently review this projector, and if you don't know, it's the world's first budget 4K projector. Now I did catch a lot of heat in the comment section of that review video for calling this a budget projector, but to be fair, considering that most of the other certified 4K projectors cost at least $4,000, I think it's fitting to call this a budget projector at $2,000. So the UHD 60 puts out 3000 lumens, it accepts a Rec 2020 HDR signal, and has a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. Now even though it could use a little help with the black levels, it puts out an impressive image with sharpness that can only be rivaled by a much more expensive projector. And the screen that the projector is projecting on is a 135-inch edge-free Elite screen. So I got it in the gray material, which gives the projector a little bit more contrast and helps with black levels. And I'm actually using the exact same LEDs for the screen as I used for the riser. Now I know some people really hate screen LEDs. They actually can add a little bit more contrast depending on what you're watching, and I think they look cool, but I usually turn them off when I'm watching a movie. So for movies, I usually play everything from my Nvidia Shield. Now I did do a review on the Shield sometime last year, but even 2 years later after it's been released, it's still easily the most powerful and capable retail set-top box on the market. So this thing can play pretty much anything, and it supports 4K video from Netflix, YouTube, Vudu, or my Plex server, and fully supports Dolby Atmos. So for Blu-rays and gaming, I have an Xbox One S. Now I do think the One S is an underrated Blu-ray player. Not only does it do a great job at playing Blu-ray movies, it also supports Dolby Atmos, and it has a great interface that's updated on a regular basis. So unlike most people, I don't have a super expensive and elaborate universal remote for my home theater. Now I did used to have an expensive Harmony remote, but I got rid of it some time ago. Now I use a mixture of my Logitech Harmony Hub and my Amazon Echo or Google Home Mini. This allows me to use my voice to turn the components on or off, control the volume, or even change the channels, or if I want, I can just use my phone for the rest of the functions. And even though I don't use it much, I do keep an Android tablet in the armrest storage of one of the seats, and that works as a universal remote as well. So as I said, I'm all about bang for your buck, and I carried this theme into my media cabinet as well. So this is the Besta TV stand from Ikea. It's really inexpensive, and it's a completely customizable unit that comes in several colors and endless configurations. So I decided to go with the black glass doors and black glass top, and it's a nice modern cabinet that works well with my setup. And finally, for my media storage, I have a Synology DS916 Plus, and I'll actually be reviewing this really soon, but this is a 4-bay network attached storage device, and I currently have 4 3TB drives installed for a total of 10 terabytes of storage. It's actually capable of transcoding 4K streams in Plex in case you need it, and it provides more than enough throughput and power to play 4K movies across my network to any of my devices, and it works perfectly as a safe place to store all of my movies, YouTube footage, and personal files. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the home theater. As I said, it's not done. There are a lot of other things I want to add, like a bar, popcorn machine, and some other things, but I'm definitely happy with it for now. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and mash that like button for me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Post your comments and questions in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.